How would you like to discover the path to living a life of significance, filled with your purpose, fueled by your passion, and driven by your power? I'm Ben Millard. In the next 45 minutes, you're going to discover the most effective way to live a life of purpose, passion, and power. How to make it happen in only 4 to 6 hours a week, and how to eliminate virtually all the haystack searching that you're doing that wastes time, energy, and money. You'll figure out exactly how to do this without reading every self-help book on the planet or following, quote, fix-it advice. And you'll discover the only 2 simple things you need to have in place. And trust me, these are timeless. They work for anybody, anywhere, of any age, at any time. You'll discover exactly how I've used this system to fulfill my purpose, which is to guide others to transforming their lives. How I used it to work in my passion, guiding people to discover their unshakable sense of purpose and build a life based on it. And how I harnessed my power in teaching, coaching, mentoring, and speaking to really get results done and build the life that I'm meant to live. And it will work for you too. Regardless of what your purpose, passion, and power is, the system is universal. You're also going to discover the top 3 mistakes you're probably making that are keeping you stuck where you are and adding to your stress and sabotaging your life with anxiety and a huge sense of overwhelm. Before we get started though, I want to make sure you're in the right place. This is for you if you survive each day just trying to get home and de-stress before going back to the grind tomorrow. If you've done all right for yourself, but you're tired of settling for good enough. If you've always had the feeling that there's something more out there waiting for you, but maybe you don't know what it is, or if you do know what it is, you have no clue how to get it. And if you are tired of books, trainings, videos, seminars, you name it, that tell you what to do, but they never tell you how to do it, so they leave you with more information, less action, spinning and overwhelmed. This is for you if you are finally ready to live a better and more fulfilled life and invest in real change, not more of the same things that got you where you are. If you're ready to be serious about doing this the right way and not by seeking out advice from others who are stuck like you are or people who haven't figured it out yet themselves, if you're ready to discover your unshakable sense of purpose, regain a passion for living life, and be filled with the power to make it happen, then this webinar is for you and you're in the right spot. Here's my promise to you. When we're done today, you'll have the first steps discovered on how to live a life of purpose, passion, and power without more overwhelm, increased frustration, and horrible stress levels. Let me be perfectly clear. There's nothing for sale on this webinar. This is content-driven and action-oriented. You're really going to discover what to do next and how to get started making a real change and having a real impact in your life. But I do have a special gift for you at the end of the webinar, so stick around with me until then. Let me ask you these questions. Does this sound like you? Are you constantly frustrated because you can't figure out how to put all the pieces together? Do you feel like you're always missing something or chasing something? You can't figure out why others are more successful than you, even though you're the one that's working harder and harder and harder, and you're spending 90% of your time trying to figure out what to do, and you just never seem to get any traction. The harder you work, the farther behind you become. The more you learn, the more confused you get, and the more stuff you try, the more frustrating you make things. I get it. You're losing your time, money, and health instead of increasing your results, gaining wealth, and securing freedom and control over your life. Or maybe this sounds like you. You try really hard, but everything you do seems to fail. Every tactic or strategy you try costs you more money than you spend. What do I mean by that? Well, maybe you buy a tool or you buy a self-help book or you sign up for a course, and so you've paid the money in, and then as you're trying to implement it, it's not working or it's not right for you or it wasn't specific enough to your life, and so you waste time, you waste effort, you lose out on money. Maybe you take time off of work and lose money there, and you end up getting more and more behind and paying more and more money than you thought you were in for when you started the bargain. No one will give you that full picture of what you need to do. And you want to make a better life for your family. You want to do the work that you love and get out of the place that you are. And you know you can do this. But no matter what you try, or no matter which direction you go in, do you feel like there's just an invisible barrier in your life that you keep bumping into time and time again, and you can't ever seem to break through to get to the greatness on the other side? Let's step back for a second. Let me ask you kind of a big picture question. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? I mean, if you knew that your results were guaranteed when you started, what would be the thing that you would just take a shot at right now? Or to put it another way, what have you always wanted to do, but you've never been able, or in a place in your life where you were able to try, or even just attempt it? What was that thing you always wanted to be when you grew up? And now that you are grown up, if you could just get rid of the restraints and the responsibilities in your life, you would totally jump and give that thing a shot and give it a chance to shake it out and see what happened. Do you have any of those things in your life right now? Or is your current approach giving you everything that you don't want in life? I get it. You're overwhelmed. You're busy with life, with family, with plans, with work, with whatever it is, and you don't seem to have any time to devote to your own self. You don't have any mean time, or you don't have any time to put some traction into getting that life that you know is waiting for you. But let me be real with you for a second. That's not really your problem. That's just symptoms of your real problem. You've probably been spending all your time, energy, and money trying to fix the symptoms. Your symptoms are not your problem. You can spend all the time in the world fixing symptoms, but as long as that problem is there, it's going to keep popping them up in your life, and you're going to keep trying to pour a fire extinguisher on them just to keep them manageable. You've probably tried growth programs before, or maybe you've read books before, and it just hasn't worked for you, and it's probably because you're making one of these 3 mistakes. The first mistake a lot of people make when they set out to do growth is you focused on identifying all the things that stop you from getting success. What do I mean by that? Well, every time you tell yourself, I can't have the life I want because I have too big of a mortgage to pay off, or I can't have the life I want because I'm too busy at work and I don't have time to start my dream, or I can't because whatever it is, fill in your own blank. Every time you tell yourself that, you're disempowering yourself. You're keeping yourself focused on all the reasons why you will never be able to get beyond the life you already have. Look, identifying what doesn't work provides no solutions. And there are always more things to find, right? I mean, you can literally spend a lifetime finding things that don't work in your life. But just identifying what doesn't work never gives you anything to focus on that you could be doing to make things better. This system that I'm going to share with you today is about building things that do work, not identifying more things that don't. The second mistake a lot of people make falls into this category. You end up trying to improve your relationship to others. And I use others generally, whether it's your boss, your spouse, your significant other, your friends, your own health problems, your money situation, your job, whatever your outside circumstance is, you're trying to improve your relationship to that before you improve your relationship to yourself. But it's really true that nothing can happen through you until it happens to you. So trying to fix everything around you without working first on getting your own integrity and character in alignment, it's like taking painkillers for a broken leg. You can take all the Tylenol in the world just to manage the pain, but as long as that leg is broken, every day you're going to wake up in pain, and every day you're going to have to take more and more drugs and do more and more coping mechanisms just to get through the day. Circumstances that you're in, they don't define what you can do. They don't define who you are. That's just life. Life happens with or without you. It's your ability and your power to overcome things and to build on your own successes that ends up defining your circumstance. If you're looking out in the world and you see somebody else out there who has a great life and you want the life that they have, you have to be willing to do the things that they did to get it. The circumstances don't come first, they're a trailing indicator. If you're in this mistake, you probably have a mistaken belief that if others change and the outside changes, then your life will improve. But that's just not the way it works. What I often tell people in my coaching and mentorship programs is circumstances don't define us, they refine us. So the things that are happening to you and the things that are happening around you in life give you a chance to hone your skill, to test your mettle, and to improve on yourself, to own those circumstances and overcome what's happening in life. It never works the other way around. The third mistake is this, and this is the one that many people, myself included, fall into all the time and fall into over and over again, even sometimes when they're aware that it's a mistake. And it's you have this belief that you have to solve this alone, because if you ask for help, others will think less of you or judge you incompetent or say, well, why aren't they good enough to get it? Why do they need to be asking me for help? But as my friend and mentor John Maxwell said, one is too small a number for greatness. Let me put it this way. You didn't learn to tie your shoes alone, or cook, or drive, or any of the other skills that you've accumulated. So why on earth would you do the most important part of your growth without help? Or to put it another way, if you had already grown into that bigger life that's meant for you, and you're waiting until you have results to ask for help, by the time you have the results, do you really need to ask for the help? It'd be like trying to fly a plane by just jumping in the cockpit and pressing go and expecting that all of a sudden you were going to know the knowledge of how to fly. No, it takes a long time in pilot school before they even let you sit in a simulator, let alone go up in the air. And there's a reason for that. Let me put it more of a finer point on it. Since when does working harder, doing what does not work, eventually give you the life you're looking for? Name one person that works harder doing the wrong things and gets the right results. You need the right system in place. You don't need more fix-it tools or tips or tactics. You don't need another self-help book. You certainly don't need advice from your friends that tell you what they want you to do and where they want you to go instead of where you're going. You don't need another chance to prove yourself. And you certainly, and most importantly, do not need some one-shot seminar or one-off recording that promises to fix your life. Even this webinar, the action and content we're going over today, I'm not going to promise you it's going to fix your life just on the webinar alone. You need to implement and put action and effort into the system behind it. Here's the good news. Once you implement it, you'll be able to free yourself from that cycle of stress, anxiety, depression, and insomnia. You'll experience real transformation, and you'll start to unlock your hidden and untapped potential. And you'll be able to live the life you're meant to live, that life that's built on your purpose, fueled by passion, and driven by power. This isn't some pipe dream pie in the sky thing. I had to discover this the hard way, but once I got this system put into place, I used exactly the system I'm going to share with you to create a life of significance for me and my family. Look, the system is built on proven strategies that have worked for many people before you and will work for many other people around you, and they will work for you too. And it's a system that's universal, so it doesn't matter what your job is, what your home life is, or any of your circumstances, it does work. One of my students, Wolfgang, uses just a tiny piece of this system. He doesn't even have it all in place yet. He's only working one aspect of it, and just on that tiny fraction, he's already transformed his career from failing into sailing. I'm going to share with you more about his journey a little later in the webinar. But I want to make sure you understand that implementing this system is the key to finally having the time freedom you want, the financial freedom you need, and your ability to build the lifestyle you know is possible. And you'll be able to do it without stress, frustration, overwhelm, or anxiety that you're living with now. When you put it into place, you're going to see how powerful it is to live a life of purpose, passion, and power, and really just how real a life of significance and meaning can be for you, for your family, and for your loved ones. And the best part about the system is it's not some big complicated 10-year journey. It's simple to implement. And it builds on itself. So each piece strengthens and helps shape the other pieces. You just start with one piece, get it in place, work it until it works, then you can move on to the next one. And because you have the first piece in place, the next piece will be even stronger. And it can be applied to anybody, in any circumstance, in any stage of life. This is why it is way more effective than tools, tips, and tactics, because it gets to the root of the problem. And it transforms the core things about you that drive all your results. I'll talk more about that a little bit in the webinar, about what those core things are that end up showing up as the results in your life. Okay, Ben, you might be thinking this sounds good, but who are you, and why should we spend the rest of this time together listening to you? That's a good question. I'm the guy on the right with the Minnesota tan, not the guy on the left with the Florida tan. That's John Maxwell, my friend and mentor. I've been leading people to better lives for over 15 years, so this is not my first rodeo. In fact, this webinar is the first webinar system that I've really even tried, because I wasn't at all going to start putting together teachings and trainings like this until I knew for sure that what I was talking about actually worked. Well, how do I know for sure it actually works? Because it's built on my own personal life experience and on the certified training and systems of John, my friend and mentor, the guy on the left. And I have this team of over 8,000 coaches who have gone through the same training I've gone through on my side. And this is working everywhere in the world. John's trained over 6 million people now in leadership. He's transformed Guatemala and Paraguay, yes, I mean the whole country, by putting some of these pieces into place. So I know it works because I've seen it work, and it comes with all of John's systems to back it up, and all of the experience that I've had personally, and with the people that I've already coached to success along the way. But more importantly than any of that, kudos to me, look how good this is stuff, is just simply this. I get where you're coming from. I grew up in a household that was based on guilt and shame and blame. I've lost years of my life. Years is kind of an understatement. I worked for over a decade at this, just believing I didn't deserve to live the life that I was meant for. It took me 5 to 10 years just to wake up enough to understand that maybe I had value enough to give into the world. And then it was another 10-year journey on top of that, trying to put these systems into place. I've lost friends. I've lost my group of friends 2.5 times as I've gone through growth spurts and done things the wrong way and made horrible messes in my life. I've lost really significant relationships. I've lost tons of money, and so I've paid the price for learning the journey and doing it the hard way and the wrong way of doing it alone, focusing on others before myself, and trying to feel like I was better than anybody else and could do it myself. I made all those 3 mistakes, and I've paid the price dearly for them. But that's how I know this works, because I have experience of all sides of the coin. And it works for Wolfgang's too. Let me just tell you a little bit about Wolfgang's story. Wolfgang is a financial advisor, and when I met him and we started working together, he was struggling to make it. He was looking at not having enough income every month to support his family. He was behind on compliance paperwork. He didn't have enough clients coming in the pipeline, and quite simply, the systems and rules of the financial advising business were just overwhelming. He just couldn't keep up with it. So I helped him put some of this system into action. Remember, he's only working still on one piece of this system, just one fraction of it. And even just on that little piece that I've helped him put into action so far, he's closing clients at his fastest pace yet. He moved out of his cubicle this last year, and he's into his own office space. He's got a filing system that works. He's got clients coming in the pipeline. And the best part is he's now getting so much business, he's looking to hire assistants, because he's getting too much business and clients in to know what to do with. So he's needing help just to keep moving forward to move on to his next step. And that's in just a little over 1 year of us working together, which is pretty fast results when you figure it took me almost 15 just to get to the point that Wolfgang started at. So what's the system, Ben? All right, well, here it is. There's only 2 things you need to put in place in order to start living your dream life in 4 to 6 hours a week without stress, overwhelm, and frustration. Okay, that sounds pretty simple. You're thinking, what's the catch? What's the secret? Here's the secret. Neither of these 2 things are secrets. You're probably doing them now, but either you're not doing them fully, or you're not doing them in the right way, or you're not doing them consistently enough. That's how I discovered the system. I was in this really stressful job. I didn't like my job. I didn't like what I was doing, and I brought it home with me, and my marriage life was filled with arguments and conflict almost nightly. My bank account was always flirting with zero, usually from the wrong side. And it wasn't because I didn't have enough money coming in. I had a decent paycheck. I was just doing all the wrong things in the wrong way and throwing money and time and energy left and right after nothing, with no sense of direction or purpose. I was pulled in so many directions I felt like an octopus. I couldn't even think straight. I couldn't even figure out how to get enough me time to sit down to even start to plan and prioritize and figure it out. But here it is. Here's the simple two-part system. Part one, you need the winning strategy to living a life of significance. Strategy is kind of a big picture thing. There's 3 pieces to it. First, you have to discover your unshakable sense of purpose. Trust me, nothing else is worth doing until you have this piece in place. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to and I ask them, do you have any inkling what your purpose is? And they say, well, no. Or they say, well, I have an inkling, but I can't even put it into words. If you don't know why you're here and what you're meant to be doing, then there is not a tooltip, tactic, or training in the world that will help get you to where you're supposed to go. Once you've figured out your sense of purpose, we have to fuel it with your inner passion. I mean, really, the deep desires and drives that are going to be worth it to you to put in the work and overcome the obstacles, so you're not going to flake out halfway through and give up on it. And finally, we're going to have to drive your results home by tapping into your unique power. And power looks a lot of ways for a lot of different people. So let me break down these 3 a little bit more so it makes just as much sense as possible. First, let's start with purpose. We have to build an unshakable sense of purpose. Here's some questions that'll help you get there right off the bat. You can start working on these, take a few days on each of them, and really go deep into your reflection time and give yourself as deep an answer as possible. What's your why? What I mean by that is what drives your motivation for doing what you do. Why do you show up to the things you show up? Why do you have the hobby you have? What's that deep-rooted sense of why that ties your choices together? You need that because purpose is going to provide the resilience and the confidence you need to overcome the adversity and hardship you're going to face along the way. This is not going to be easy. I'd be lying to you if I said that a week from now you're going to be living this full dream life. It's going to take work and effort. And if you don't have an unshakable sense of purpose, you're going to get shaken by all of the naysayers and stuff that life throws at you. Simply put, without that sense of purpose, your potential will remain hidden and locked away, and you will never be able to tap into it. You will constantly settle for the safety and security of whatever you currently have, instead of reaching for significance and success. And you will end up stuck where you are, living the life you're living right now. Once you have that purpose, we're not done yet. Then you need to work on your deep inner passion. This is not the stuff you want, or the things that seem like a good idea, but I mean the activities that always leave you more energized when you're done doing them. What are those activities? What are the things you could do all day long or you lose track of all time when you're doing? Or to put it another way, here's a question that if you spend some time reflecting on, it will really cut to the heart of it. What are the things that make your soul cry? What are the things that you can't stand when you see them in the news that you feel just moved and compelled to take action on? Because the problem is, if you don't have that passion really locked in and tapped into, you're never going to commit yourself to that, that quote-unquote 110% of your efforts. You'll always let something else be more important than this, or you'll always get stuck by that invisible barrier. You need the passion to fuel the energy to have the breakthrough. Without it, you will forever let circumstances and excuses continue to dominate and define your life. And by the way, that right there is what we call fate. Jim Rohn put it best. It's very simply either you run the day or the day runs you. So if your day is running you, you're going to keep doing all the other stuff and all the other needs that have nothing to do with where you are or where you're meant to be going. Once you have the passion, we need to unleash it through your power. And by your power, I mean the stuff that comes naturally to you. What are your gifts? What are your natural talents? What have you always been good at or always gotten praise on through your life? What do other people tell you you're good at? Without power, you'll never break through obstacles to taste success. You'll end up working a job you're competent at, but you never really excel at. I mean, imagine driving a car at idle speed, okay, and never putting your foot on the gas. It's going to take you forever to get anywhere, and by the time you get there, nobody's going to be left waiting for you. They're all going to have gone home. You're going to be late to your own party. Let me sum it up in a little graphic. If you're a visual person, here's how this comes together to reach into tapping into your potential. It's power plus passion multiplied through your purpose. That's what gets you to unlocking your potential. So you need to get those three in place if you're ever going to start to reach for the greatness that you know is out there for you. So how do we actually get results? That was part one, the strategy. And this is part two, the process. This is a linear process. It goes one to the next, and you have to get all pieces of these working together to really fully unlock things. But even getting one of these pieces working for you is going to start generating results in your life. Number one is mindset. I have a whole other training on how your mindset and your beliefs shape your reality. I'm going to touch on it in this webinar, but it's more deep than the 45 minutes we have together can go into. But it is very true that the way you think and the way you have your beliefs set up really shape the way your life around you feels. For example, if you believe you'll always have a car payment, you're never going to do anything to not have a car payment, and so it's going to come true that you'll always have a car payment. The second piece is awareness. You don't know what you don't know, right? So you have to become aware and build this idea of what you're even searching for so that you have enough light shine on it so you can start to look at it. Without awareness, if you're blind to it, you'll never be able to take any action or work on it at all. Once you have the awareness and you kind of know what's going on, then we got to focus in on it. We got to bring all your attention to bear and really put some traction behind things. And finally, you have to leverage everything you can. Growth is an all-in kind of game. You can't do it as a hobby or around the edges when it feels good. You have to take everything in your life and point it towards where you're going, and then really hit the engine hard and step on the gas and put all of the resources you have to bear to make it work. Let me break this down for you too. Starting with the right mindset. Here are some wrong mindsets. If you think the answers that I'm seeking are just impossible to find, then you'll end up being right and you'll never find them. Many famous people before me have said whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's the way mindsets work. So if you're thinking getting by is just good enough, that's what it will be. If you're thinking I can't afford to lose what I have in order to get what I'm searching for, I can't afford to give up my job or my car or my boat or whatever it is. If you're holding on to those things and you want those more than you want the greater life that comes with richer rewards on the other side, it's going to keep you stuck. Or if you just have a low or shattered self-esteem and you believe you don't deserve your true life. That was like me. I spent 10 years believing I wasn't even worth it, so I didn't even try. If you believe you don't have enough time or money or energy to work towards the life that you're meant to live, then you're going to be stuck in the wrong mindset. Okay, but why is it so important to have the right mindset? Here's that summary slide that I was talking to you about. Here's the way the chain works. If you have a pen and a piece of paper, or if you have the notes email with the PDF for the notes for the webinar, make sure you start writing this down. We start with your beliefs. That's at the heart of your mindset, and whatever you believe fundamentally determines your attitude on life. So if you believe life is out to get you, you're going to have a negative attitude. But it's that attitude that directly fuels your emotions. So if you feel life is out to get you, your emotion is going to be defensive, standoffish, maybe angry, maybe embittered, maybe jealous of others, maybe sore at losing. Whatever it is, those emotions come right out of those thoughts and attitudes. And that's really important because when it comes down to it, we're emotional creatures, and emotions drive our actions. Well, wait a minute, Ben. I am a creature of reason. I have logic. I have the ability to think and have free will. I can logically think of a better plan for my actions. So what's this whole thing about emotions about? Well, you're right. We are logical creatures, but when it comes right down to it, we Logic is a tool we use to support our emotional decisions. I mean, why is it that so many people buy gum or candy bars in the stand that's at the checkout counter at the grocery store? It's because we see it and we want it and we buy it. Logic doesn't have a place in that game. So ultimately, if your emotion is that you're angry and embittered and jealous, you're going to take actions to either try to make yourself feel less angry, or you might just lash out because of that anger. And it's out of those actions that we directly create our results. So belief determines attitudes, directly fuels your emotions, which drive your actions and create your results. So the bottom line is, you are not getting the results you want because your beliefs are keeping you stuck. So we need to fix your mindset so that we can start to change your attitudes, pile on the emotions that are pointing you in the right directions to get you the actions you need for the results that you want. Or as John says, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. Once you've got the mindset, we need the right focus. Because it's very true that you can only see what you're looking at, right? Just think physically and visually. You can't see behind you. That's not where your focus is. The truth is, you've got a blind spot that prevents you from seeing the life you're meant to live. Otherwise, if you could see it, you'd already have been moving towards it. So we have to figure out how to get that focus sharpened so that you can see where you're going. Because if you stop focusing, or if you're not looking at the right thing, you're just going to keep spinning in circles because you're going to lack clarity or any sense of direction. It's important because really the difference between people who make it and people who don't is the ability to apply focused effort to their actions. It's your focus that determines reality. Let me ask you a question. Do you have the reality you want? If not, then you probably don't have the focus that you need. Dr. Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And what he meant by that was, if you look at things expecting to be attacked, you're going to find all of the things that are attacking you. So if you want to find things that are supporting you, you have to look at things with a focus of what will support and get you closer to what you're trying to do. Here's the problem, though. There are literally hundreds of negative influences pulling us every day. Without focus, you're going to fall prey to the pressures and naysayers of life and friends and people in a bad spot each and every time. The focus is the only thing that's going to let you cut through those pressures and stay, well, for lack of a better word, focused on your goal and cut through the clutter to get it done. With focus, you need the awareness piece, because if you don't know what you want to work on, you're not going to know where to place your focus. So you need to get yourself to that aha moment. Let me put it this way. If someone asks you what you want to change, you always have an answer for that. But when you're asked what you want instead, what you want to be better, or what you want the negative thing to turn into, you freeze up. Maybe not all the times, but in a lot of the important ones, you just choke. Why? Why is that? We know we want a better life, but how come it's so hard to create a plan or cast a vision for what that better life should be? It's simple. No one has asked you the right set of questions. You need that right set of questions to raise your awareness. You need the tools and the assessments to go, what is it that I want and how do I get there, and what are the markers that get me there? Finally, when you have those other places in place, then it's time to leverage everything we can. Because here's the reality. You have to do this in 4 to 6 hours a week, and you need to see results fast. Your self-investment is already getting the worst hours of your day, and try as we like, we can't add more hours to the day. So we've got to really take all of the resources we have to bear and pile them into this so that those few hours we do have are really effective and make a difference. So we'll leverage the awareness. We'll build it with a powerful assessment tool filled with the right questions. How do we leverage focus? We sharpen your awareness with focus by using clear, attainable, achievable goals. How do we leverage mindset? We build that as we experience the early wins. So we have to start with action steps that you can actually get to and get a result on, because a result that points you in the right direction is going to make you start to believe that you can actually attain the life you want. And those early wins start to change that belief structure. Little by little, we chip away at it until everything starts falling into place. This isn't some fast track. You don't want to use gimmicks to do this, all right? If you use ninja tricks or gimmicks, you're not going to have the core built, and even if they get short-term results, they're going to fall apart. Maybe you've already experienced this. There's no tool, tip, and tactic in the world that works without a good system. Quite simply, if your system is bad, using more tools, layering on more goals, or working harder at it just makes it worse. You have to build the system first. The rest of it falls into place on top of that. Let me give you a clear and simple goal. This is an action step that you can start on right now. Find a mentor who can ask the right questions. You want to look for someone who knows the way you need to go, goes the way you're going, and can show you the way and reach back to pull you along with them. Find someone who resonates with you, someone who you click with, and somebody who's got the knowledge, experience, and tools that you need, and also has the spirit and understanding and patience that you want in somebody that is going to be your teacher or guide. That is the one thing you can take away from this webinar to really make a difference. So let's recap. Two-step system to living a life of significance. Step 1, get the right strategy. Discover the purpose, tap into your passion, and finally unleash your power. Get those 3 pieces in place, so you know where you're going and what fuel you need to get there. Once you've got the strategy laid out, step 2, get the process. And the process is build a mindset, raise your awareness, sharpen your focus, and leverage every single possible thing you can to get results and get started going. Let me be real with you for a second. This probably sounds pretty good, and you're like, yeah, I can do this, but what about daily life, and what about this, and what about all the other, any of those objections that you have in your head where you're saying, this won't work because, or what about this, or, but what if this happens, or what if I'm not strong enough, or what if. Let me just be real with you for a second. You're not going to do this alone. If you really want to make a difference, you must invest in mentoring. And when I say invest, I don't just mean money, although like any journey and any work you do, there's probably going to be some money involved at some point along the way. But you've got to be really willing to put in the time it takes and to really give it a fair shot and give it your all and put in effort, time, and resources together to invest in yourself and give yourself a shot to make this work. Don't just go home and try it for 2 hours one night and then go, see, I showed you it wouldn't work. You have to stick with it. Look, really, you just have 2 options to discover the life you're meant to live. There's really 2 ways to go about this. Option 1, repeat those 3 big mistakes that I shared earlier, all the ones that I went through personally in my life. Do them over and over and over again. Focus on your problem. Try to change your circumstances. Try to do it yourself and end up wasting a fortune in time, stress, wasted effort, and money. Or get help from someone who's already paid the price before you, who's paid that price and paved the way so that the road is easier for you to follow, and who can come alongside you and eliminate all of that wasted time and effort. You don't have to beat yourself up and play the frustration game, rediscovering how to make fire or reinventing the wheel. There are many people out there ahead of you who have already done it that you can follow and can jumpstart your results so that you start getting closer to the life you need to be living fast. When you find a good mentor, this is what you get. You get focus, you get leverage, you get awareness, you get all the things that we're talking about that you need to be building anyway. You're going to get accountability, somebody who very lovingly holds you accountable for your actions and comes back and keeps checking in with you so you can't fall too far off the wagon. You're going to get a thinking partner for when you get stuck. You have someone to bounce ideas off of to help figure out that one last thing that you didn't think of that might just shake you loose. You're going to get follow through because a mentor wants you to succeed almost as much as you do. So they're going to make sure that you keep taking one step after a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, which all boils down simply to you're going to get the results you're looking for. Let me be real with you. The people you surround yourself with have a strongest influence on the results you're going to get. So if you surround yourself with a culture of people who are happy staying stuck, it will be 100 times harder for you to get unstuck. Very simply, your environment always wins. What you surround yourself with has a huge effect on the results you get. So do you want to keep surrounding yourself with the people that have kept you where you are? Or do you want to surround yourself with other people who are on a like-minded journey of growth, and surround yourself with mentors and teachers who are there to encourage you and support you along the way? Ultimately, it's up to you. Okay, it's your choice. You can keep doing what you're doing and doing it the same way you've been doing it now, and you'll end up keep getting what you've got. Or you can change what you do, put some effort in, and really radically and dramatically transform your life. Let me ask you something. How much is it costing you to not take action? I mean the real cost, not just money, but the real life cost. When you don't take action and you know it's there and you're feeling stuck, you have sleepless night after sleepless night after sleepless night where your brain keeps spinning with anxiety, trying to figure out what to do, but it can't, so it just keeps you awake. Or maybe you've spent so much money, time, and effort that you're just about ready to give up. And if you give up, this is going to cost you the rest of your life. You're wasting year after year thinking, someday things will get better. Next year I'll get started. You're just going to lose the burnout battle that way. You're going to work so hard just treading water that eventually you'll stop swimming and you'll just float down the river. It's exhausting. You're going to get exhausted from just getting through the day. You'll have nothing left for your family or your friends or any of your social life when you get home. I don't want to see that happen to you. And I know that you really want the change that you know is out there, and I know that you really want the life that's waiting for you because you're still here listening. So let me get to how I can help. Here's that gift I promised you at the beginning. I have personally set aside some of my time to speak to you about how to apply the system directly to your life. And it can start either today or tomorrow. Whenever you can sign up for a call, we can start doing it. And before you think, oh, this is where he's selling me something, I'm not selling you anything. This isn't a sales call. It's an action call and a content-oriented call. This webinar has only taken you as far as it can take you because I don't know the specifics of your life. I've shared with you the system and I've shared with you the process, but to apply it specifically to your life will take focused effort. So I've set aside some time to speak with you about it and really apply it directly to your life, figure out where you are and how you need to take the next step it is that you need to take to get started on whatever your specific journey is. It's not a sales call, it's free. This is a free call where we're going to work together so that you can take that specific step based on this system and process, but applied to the life you have. Well, gee, that's pretty great, you're thinking. But is it for me? Well, let me recap. This is for you. This call will work for you, and you'll get a lot out of our time together. If you're surviving each day just trying to get home and de-stress before going back to the grind tomorrow, if you've done all right for yourself, but you're tired of settling for good enough, if you've always had the feeling that there's something more waiting for you, but you don't know what it is or how to get it, and if you're tired of all the books and trainings that tell you what to do but not how to do it, or the one-shot seminars, even this webinar, as good as it is, can't really tell you how to do it just on this webinar, except that one tip I could give you about finding someone to guide you along the way. So if you leave it at this webinar and don't take another step, I promise you, you're going to end up overwhelmed. This is for you if you are committed to living a better, more fulfilled life. You must be willing to invest in real change and make a real investment in yourself. And you must be serious about doing it the right way, not seeking advice from others stuck as you. You must be willing to invest into yourself, into your development, and do the work it takes to shake loose. So this is not for you. If you think your life is good enough, and that is good enough for you, then that's fine. But then this call is not going to be for you. If you're happy with making ends meet, and you don't have the commitment to follow through right now with the work that it takes to make a real lasting difference, this is not going to be for you. If you would rather feel comfortable instead of fulfilled, that's fine, but then mentorship is probably not for you, and reaching for the life you're meant to live is probably not for you. Okay, Ben, that sounds really good, but why are you doing this? Look, like I said before, I've been where you are. I've cried, I've lost sleep, and I've run myself ragged figuring this all out on my own. I know how hard it is, and I know how easy it is to give up and waste years and years not even trying. I don't want to see that happen to you, because my passion, my purpose, and my power is in transforming people's lives. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm meant to be doing. That's why I exist on the planet. And look, you know you can do this, and I believe you can do this, but no one can do this alone. Everybody needs a helping hand along the way. Let me be that for you. On this call, you're going to get complete clarity as to what you need to do and what you need to stop doing in order to live the life you're meant to live. This is going to be an action call. It's a content call. And yes, if at the end of the call we click well and you think you want to continue down a journey of mentorship together, and if you want me to help you further, and if I think we're a good fit and we're clicking really well, we can talk about next steps together. I might invite you to join some of my co-pilot training systems or some of my other coaching programs and have you become one of my exclusive clients. I don't work with everybody. You know, there are people I work with and there's people that I don't. Just like anything in life, there's people you resonate with and there's people you don't. Don't let that stop you from getting on the call. You're going to get value out of the call regardless of whether or not you want me to help you any further after that. I have people I get on a call together and I help get started, and that's all they need. And that's fine, and I really want to do that for you too. But if we work together, you'll get access to the same principles and tools that set Wolfgang up for success. And I have put together an accelerated system. So rather than taking years and years, I'm going to put you through an accelerated course that's going to get results in about 4 to 6 hours a week. And it's going to use the maximum amounts of leverage. I'm going to help you find the leverage in your life to make this work. And if you really work the program and the system the way it's meant to be worked, I fully expect you're going to be getting results fast, probably in as little as days or weeks at the most. So if this sounds like it's right for you, I want you to go to benjaminmillard.com/apply. And like I said, I don't work with anybody, and spaces are limited. So apply now and get in there. There'll be a few questions that are right on the sign-up form that I'll have you fill in that'll help me figure out a little bit more about where you're at and where you're coming from. And then we'll sit down together for a call. It usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour, so I can figure out who you are and help you figure out what your next specific action step is for your life. benjaminmillard.com/apply. And as I tell all of my coaching clients and all of my students in the program, go, fight, and win. And thanks for watching.